Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to a new stream. We're back. First of all, I'm sorry that the last stream ended so abruptly. I spilled my coffee. Spilled my coffee is kind of a euphemism. I knocked over my coffee cup and it was almost full with coffee. So all the coffee ran over my tablet and my luckily for me under my keyboard. But yeah, that was quite a thing there. But I managed to clean it all up, and luckily my tablet is still alive. It works, and it works fine. So everything turned out to be okay in the end. So yeah, we're here today with one of these sketches that I did. I did a couple more, but I thought, you know what? You're locked. Ah, let's uh, let's just start with one, and so we can focus on one painting at a time. Um, and we'll see where we end up with. As you can see, I got rid of the border there. I usually use a border for my images, but I thought, you know what, let's get rid of it for now, and because I think it's good to just have the total image. I'm a little bit tired, so I hope everything goes well. And I hope to be able to stream the 2 hours that we planned, but well, we'll see. That's the goal at least. But for now, I'm just gonna sit back and try to relax and sort of get into the painting. Thing is, because I had to stop so quite abruptly, I didn't really have the time to wrap the paintings up properly. But yeah, we'll try our best to make it work with what we've got. All right, so yeah, as you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, but I'm using a new brush, or a new brush setting, I should say, because I found out about the wet edge setting in my brushes here, and I find it a really interesting setting, and I'm gonna try to experiment with more brushes with that setting today. I feel it can get a really nice painterly look, bring a Neil. As you can see, the tiredness is taking its toll already. You can achieve some nice painty looks with it. So yeah, that's yeah. The effect is quite subtle, but uh, it is noticeable. So I'll just grab a new brush every now and then we'll just select the wet edges and we'll paint for a little bit and see how it feels. Just as a way to try out this new thing here. Well, it's not new. It has been always there in Photoshop, but I never really sort of experimented with it and checked out what it did until last Monday. And then I found out that it gave quite interesting effects. So yeah, I'm currently painting just straight on the painting. I think I'm gonna go with a layer. It's not necessary. It, I think it's good to, especially if you want to have a more traditional look. It's good to just paint on a single layer. But if you're like me, um, you can go with a second layer to check your progress every now and then, because that can be quite helpful to sort of see where you are and where you're going and where you come from in terms of your painting. Because sometimes it can feel like you're not moving in the right direction. And I feel that the wow, by just unchecking the layer for a second and seeing where you started and what you did, you can see, oh, I like this direction, I like these changes. I selected the ship, not sure why yet. Well, kind of. I wanted to stand out more from the background. I think I'm gonna go with a new layer and set it to multiply, so we can sort of keep details. I think the masts can be a little bit darker compared to the rest. Yeah, I think that is a good change. The ship was sort of blending in the background, and with this new layer, it sort of stops it from doing that. The thing is, there is sort of a bend in my ship. I'll try to demonstrate it. You can see this feels like it is sort of flat, and this feels like it is like that, but we want it to be like that. So I'm gonna have to work on the bottom of the ship for that. I think I can go with 80% opacity here. Because you're using the wet edge, even 100% opacity isn't 100% opacity. You see, it still blends with the background. So it's a good way to work with high opacities, but still have some sort of color blending. It works quite well. I'm still sort of figuring out every now and then what setting to use to get the desired effect. But the longer you do it, the more you know, of course. And sometimes it takes a while to work on a painting to sort of figure out the right what works on what place. For some reason, it changes on per painting, I feel, and per subject on the painting. I did a quick painting on my own for myself, and yeah, that's something I noticed. You have to sort of learn what place needs what. And I guess the more experience you get, the easier that becomes. We kind of want to have some sort of a little harbor here. We had the idea of people, so that's definitely something we will try to do. And yeah, it's gonna sort of smooth this out a little bit. Oh, we can probably, if we chose a somewhat lighter opacity, we can even sort of do the bottom of the ship, because that ship also reflects the water. You would think it, but the light gets reflected on the water back onto the ship. And of course the ship is reflected in the water as well, so I'm gonna make sure we have that as well. But that's gonna be quite a nice little struggle to sort of do. And one thing we probably want is not probably, one thing that we want is some reference of medieval, or maybe even 16th, 17th century ships around that time period, and try to sort of mimic it after that. Of course, I know a little bit how the ships look, because this is what I came up with without any references or anything. So I have some idea, but if you want it to look real, you have to come up with a real ship. So I'm gonna see. Quickly Google some images. Little sort of little images as inspiration. From for instance, a fisherman's hut, things like that. Just to see, not necessarily to copy it, not at all, but to have some idea of the architecture that is involved, the way it is built. Because I want this to be a sort of a somewhat for a bit of the harbor, to be not necessarily the nice and shiny bit. And maybe we can do something with the background here that to help us with that. To get some ships there and stuff like that. I want to bring in some more color because it's a little bit lacking in color. I'll just slowly but surely work our way in. I'm just now I'm googling tall ship, which gives us all sorts of where type of tall ships. This is sort of a medieval type. Nice. Let's keep the reference there. Yeah, let's actually try to sort of start painting a little bit rather than just sort of, yeah, of course we're painting, but be a little bit brave, start designing this ship better instead of just focusing on the big shapes. That's what I have been doing mostly now, focusing on shapes. Of course, painting is nothing more than a painting is a collection of shapes and colors, of course, but we want to be sure that there is context in the shapes. I kind of want to have this ship to have some color, whether it's green or blue or whatever. Yeah, I quite like this green. I deliberately grabbed a very bright one. Because now I can just color pick from here and sort of have a better representation of what I actually want. Here, I actually want to have applied on my ship. We'll probably add another color, maybe some red, something. Just dapping the color on there. You can see I was too quick again with my Control Z. So yeah, we're gonna have to put this at 90, I think, or 80. Let's go with 80. And make sure that the edges are sort of correct. Do we want to have a sort of a thing like this? Yeah, I guess so. And maybe we need to have some sort of a way to steer the ship, and maybe some guys, maybe a little. We've got to fix all sorts of problems here. That's going to be quite a challenging little painting. I think I want this to be more like that, rather than the way I had it before. I want to keep this curved shape in the ship. And if you want to see what we did, you can sort of check, see, do I like the way this is going or do I not? And we may end up failing. We may end up with a painting that we think, this isn't what I expected it to be, and or what I wanted it to be. And then we can sort of try to analyze what's wrong with it. and why that is, and then we might try to fix it, or I think I'm gonna go with a somewhat more boring design. Well, not necessarily boring, but a less, a somewhat older design. There we go. You can see I don't know if it's noticeable on stream, but for me it's very noticeable, the lag, when I do quick brush strokes. Kind of want to sort of do the on the underwater line, so, and then it goes above water there. Um, kind of want to keep this line here in there. I think this is the. Let's flip the image and see. I think there's all sorts of things wrong with it when we flip it. For one thing, this side really feels empty. It almost feels like we should just crop it. But if you crop it, doesn't feel right either. Or instead of cropping it, grab the entire image and shift it a little bit to the left. We need some stuff here, that's for sure. Not sure what, but we need something to sort of counteract that the heavy weight of that, and it's slipping all the way down, and it's sort of both the ship and the roof here are pointing towards this thing, and there's nothing there, so we need to bring in something there to let the eye look at something. I'm not sure what yet. We could just do another part of the harbor. I have this this big tower here now. We might keep that, I'm not sure. I kind of want to make this bigger than what we have here. Maybe it's sort of a Japanese style castle. Would be kind of cool. Initially, it wasn't really supposed to look Japanese, but it kind of became that way to the. Not sure how I'm going to go with how it sort of sits in. Yeah, something like that. And this is really cool, but because now sort of with this, I can just do whatever I want, and I feel sort of free. And I hope I can transfer that feeling that I currently have into the rest of the painting. Because when I started this painting, I felt really good, and the lines were flowing really nice and stuff like that. It was a really good sort of. This line has to be something like that. It was really good when it started, but when you have to sort of move on. The first few minutes or even half an hour are always a little bit, well, for me at least. I don't know if that goes for anyone else, but I'm always a little bit rusty, so to say. It feels like rusty. I think I want to get rid of this sort of, because then we have this. Yeah, let's do that, and then we're gonna get rid of this as well. I always feel a little bit rusty the first few minutes of my painting. um, but at a certain point, once you sort of let go of that stiffness, or I don't know how to call it, then you get to be sort of free, and then you can finally get going. Do I want this to be the red? I think I do. I don't there, like this. And yeah, it's really rough now, but that's okay. Because it's kind of cool. If you zoom out, it's a lot better. If you checked it with or without, of course, there's some things have changed on the ship as well. You might change the ship a little bit for the sake of the Japanese design. And then I noticed something now which is something that's wrong with the ship. This the perspective here is should be. I need another brush here. Perspective of the ship isn't correct. Should be something like. Let's grab a nice red brush. Red brush. Could do it on a new layer, so we might try to keep it. We have sort of the horizon line. Oops. We have the horizon line here. So that means that this goes up and all these go towards. This is sort of the way they go. Lines, and we don't really have any other. We should sort of make those. Something like that. We can check that here. The tower. We might need to. We might need to do something about that tower. To match the perspective a little bit better. But this should be a little bit more like so. This shouldn't be straight. This is straight, and this should flow down a little bit. Alright, we're gonna keep that layer. Gonna lock it so we cannot paint on it anymore. So this needs a little. It maybe is also. I think this is a little bit too long, so. Let's see. Usually there's something like a door in there. Staircases up. So yeah, we need to fix that tower a little bit. Let's select the tower, especially the upper part. And let's open up the perspective layer here. Of course, that's only true if the tower is sort of in the same orientation as the as this fishing dock type thingy. Hmm. I think it can be, but we have to fill up this back here. And maybe there are some other. There's another tower here. Like that. Red. There's some statues in front. Can be all sorts of stuff there. So if we are like, I don't know if this is going anywhere, we're like, well, might be. Still not sure. But this is sort of the evil. We need to give this a name. The evil painting phase or something, where you have sort of the ID down, and it just isn't quite there. Some paintings have it more than others, I feel like, sometimes. But all my paintings go through that sort of phase where let me try to explain, where it doesn't feel right yet. It isn't there where you want it to be. And I keep getting quiet because today, especially, I've never experienced it this bad before on stream. Really, to try to think and do the painting at the same time, because for me this is quite a difficult painting because it's so far out of. But that's a good thing because that means that I keep sort of stretching my goals and keep stepping out of my comfort zone. But what was I trying to say? Yeah, that stage in which the painting just doesn't seem to work. And yeah, that's definitely this stage. Well, it if you zoom out, then it kind of looks okay. You're like, ah, it sort of works. As in, it doesn't suck in terms of composition. Well, at least that's what I think. Try to add some color in the roof. So that brings in some color in the painting, which is good. Because if you zoom way out, you're like, well, kind of works. This the rim sort of the roof is really dark, but other than that, well, it's not necessarily very exciting painting. Kind of works. But there's so much to do. Maybe that's what sort of frightens me the most at this stage is the amount of work to do on this painting. Because I'm tired and I'm trying to stream and it doesn't really work out the way I wanted it, and then or the way I wanted, as in because I'm so tired and probably should stop for my health, but I kind of want to keep going. So that's a bit disheartening, so to say. We need some masts. So they're like probably something like this, then like that. Some masts, some but I want to do those. I can do those now, but I really want to do those at the very end, because if I do them now, it becomes really difficult to work on the buildings in the background. And I probably should quickly move on to the buildings there. Sort of sort that out. So let's try that now. Let's try to make this painting into something we actually enjoy. Just gonna work on it for this week, and on Friday we'll decide, you know what, it's worth to continue for a while longer or not. We'll see. Kind of want to work on it for as long as possible, just to see if we can make it work. Because I think these are important lessons for me. Both as a painter, as in a life lesson. Because keep going, and if you quit, it will never work out. And that's sort of with this painting. If you quit now, we will never make this a good into a good painting. If we continue, we might very well turn this into a nice looking painting. I don't know. And even if we fail to make this a really nice looking painting, we still have all the lessons that we learned from actually doing this. It's not just about making a cool painting, it's about the learning process. What did we learn from this painting? even if you make a really cool painting but you didn't learn anything from it, well, of course it's nice to have that painting there. But what else did it give you? Did it could let's say that we stop this and we start making a nice little landscape because we feel comfortable with it. What did we gain from this? We didn't gain anything, because as soon as it didn't really work out the way we wanted, we quit. While if we keep doing this, and even if it doesn't work out in the end, there's a ton of stuff that we learned that we didn't know before, and that we can put into our next painting. And that's really cool to think about it that way, because that makes stuff a lot easier. We want this to be a harbor. It's probably going to be a little bit thicker, these wooden thingies. We don't necessarily want them all to be very even. So yeah, that's sort of a that was a little pep talk for you guys, but also not only just for you, but also for me, because I need that too. I need to sometimes push myself and think, you know what, this sucks, maybe, but if you quit now, it won't get any better. You'll have to start a new painting, and you have to start over, and you'll end up at that same stage at a certain point. And the only way to sort of improve, to get past that point, is by continue painting. And sometimes you just sort of naturally pass that point. And sometimes it needs a little bit more sort of conviction, determination, to actually get past it. But yeah, I hope that that is sort of inspirational for you guys as well. That everyone, I think even the best artists, have these problems, these moments where they're like, this isn't gonna work out. I don't know. This sucks. And sometimes it might be that the end result indeed sucks, but it's not all about the end result. And if and that's sort of, that was and still is a problem of me. I still think too much about the end product rather than the journey to receive that end product, and that's killing, especially when you're learning, because learning isn't about the end product, because you're still learning, and so you can't expect the end product to be perfect. And that's the difficulty about learning, well, for me at least. I never really learned how to learn. I never got the opportunity, because which was it? There was someone on who, he also makes nice art videos on YouTube. He's a teacher. He's also called Marco. Marco Plays. Excuse me, I get the name wrong. he had this nice. He wrote a book and he did some nice passages, some nice thing. A little bit. He read a little bit out of the book while he was doing an artwork, so that's really nice. But he had some nice, really nice lessons. He talked about being talented and being skilled. Those are two separate things, and I couldn't agree more. And I recognize myself in the talented group. So I never really, and it goes for both art as sort of things in general. It's not to brag, but um, because it can be a detrimental to your life, and in my case, it has been actually. Um, I'm currently chronically fatigued, um, and I'm currently trying to get my life sort of back together, but it's quite a tough journey. But what was I talking about? Because that's sort of a little bit off the point, but no, I was talking about learning and stuff like that because yeah, some people know what it is to learn because they learn in school and they have to put in the hours in school and struggle through hours and hours of studying to actually get good grades. And then there is another group which is statistically a lot smaller. Of course, there's a large group. I think everybody recognizes it that just wants to have fun sometimes and forgets about learning and gets a bad result. That's okay. I mean, that's just normal, I guess. But there is also a group who don't have to study that hard at all to get the good results. And then it's tough because at some point in your life you come at a point where you have to put in the hours, and if you don't know how to do that, that's definitely that sucks because you don't know, you literally don't know how it works and that it works that way. So you literally can think that something is wrong with you, or that this isn't how it is supposed to be because you've never experienced this and this isn't your normal life. So that can be quite a challenging thing. Um, but yeah, the the real ultimate thing to do there is to actually put in the hours, and once you sort of and do the stuff you're not comfortable with, as in in painting. Um, Step out of your comfort zone. As I talked about this last week as well. I wasn't comfortable with drawing characters. I'm still not. I'm still not there, but I'm definitely gonna put in people here because I learned from that little thing we did there last week that if you put in a little bit effort, you can get a decent looking character. So yeah, I kind of want this to be sort of the fish market. So there's all sorts of little stalls and things like that. So there's a lot of vertical stuff going on. Just gonna draw some fish stalls, sort of in this um, this area here. And that gives us the opportunity to have a lot of banners and things like that. some artificial lighting, maybe. As you can see, I'm starting to loosen up a lot more, while I sort of just ramble on and just get going, because at a certain point you I don't know, I'm sort of I'm past the sucky painting point now. It's still not there by a long shot, but I have a much better idea now how I want this to go, and how I want this to work out in the end. How I want this to look. Because I can sort of see all sorts of stalls with different type of banners, some nice colors everywhere. I mean, we can bring in the colors now. They don't necessarily have to make sense yet, because we're just gonna pick the colors from there and use them from the color picker. So we're just gonna bring in all sorts of colors. Probably some greens. We want this to be a colorful thing here. Maybe some darker greens. We also need darker colors, because this is sort of under a roof. This is gonna be end up fairly dark, I guess. And then it would be really nice to sort of have these really vibrant colors in there. And these are sort of the clothing of the people, little banners and stuff like that. Currently, it doesn't really make too much sense, probably. Although the funny thing is, I don't know how that works for you guys, but sort of starting to notice details. It's sort of the suggestion of detail that's there now. It's not even the detail itself, because I haven't really drawn that much detail. But it's sort of the suggestion that there is a lot of detail going on. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying this more and more and more now. I think the painting is a lot better now than it was, let's say, 20 minutes ago. But this is where we came from. As you can see, it's sort of a generic ID, nice flowing lines, and that's what I think. Yeah, we needed something here, of course, but as you can see, it starts to come together a lot more. I'm not sure if we keep the green on the ship, we might tone it down or do something different, but we'll see. But I'm really starting to like this this area here. Someone is here and trying to buy something from the guy back there. Maybe we can be fairly loose now, and with each sort of pass, it will sort of come together more and more and more. I think we need some blues in there as well. Just because. We'll just keep layering this stuff, and that way we get the suggestion that there is a lot of stuff going on, which is the case, of course. This is the fish market, man, and probably all not just fish. Probably it starts probably with fish here, but maybe there's other exotic vegetables and stuff like that back in the further back or in a different part. It it goes on for quite a long way. There's all sorts of stuff in these type of markets. Lots of color, lots of happy people, sometimes angry people because they didn't get a good deal or got a rotten fish or whatever. This feels like a sort of a monk guy. Sure if we can keep him that way. But maybe these guys have sort of a big basket on the back with the fish or whatever. Maybe a special crayfish or other type of shellfish. I think I want a little bit more saturation in my colors because now the contrast between the really sort of quite vibrant colors and the rest is quite big. So I think I want more a little bit more warmth. A little bit, yeah, warmer colors and a little bit more saturation in my colors. Nothing too crazy, hopefully, but and we definitely want to get rid of all the really light areas. Gonna add some artificial lights, of course, but so yeah, it's almost time for me to grab a coffee. That's gonna be a dangerous thing here because remember last Monday what happened with the coffee. But we're gonna do it anyway. I mean, eat it. But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff hanging. And, probably a little lantern or something. Corner of the building. Maybe there's one over here as well. So they can let's some lights from the probably reflecting the sky. So they can sort of turn these on when it's night. Nice little 30% here. Something like that. And we probably try to get them visible a little bit better, but yeah, I think I'm quite happy so far with the progress that we made. I think I'm gonna loosen up the ship a little bit because the rest of the painting is quite loose and the ship feels quite stiff. So we definitely want to sort of move that, get that looseness in the ship as well. But I'm gonna take a real quick break. I will be right back, and then we will. Oops, put on the proper screen here. We will continue with this little painting here. I see you in a bit. And I'm back. Welcome back to the most dangerous part of the stream. Where we have a cup of coffee, which we can knock over. And with knocking that little thing over, we might ruin our day. But let's try to not do that today. Right. Gonna try to work in a little bit of looseness in the ship here, because it feels a little bit stiff, and we don't really want that, do we? No, we don't. I need my reference pic. sculptures. Nice little tall ships. Yeah, in medieval times they used to be a little bit more square and stuff. We have a sort of a Japanese type buildings. But I'm not sure whether we will do the same with the ship. It can be doesn't have to be sort of the ship of the same people. It can be from a different kind of from a different country. Of course, that's what I was trying to say. But we're gonna design a little bit on the ship. Of course, we can follow sort of the default. We want to keep it sort of a default ship design, but we can try to make it a little bit more interesting. We, for instance, need an anchor, and can sort of make that a reality, I guess. How do anchors usually? Sort of stick out in the front, but how? I think I'm gonna do it like this, just. And we nowadays and later, a couple of centuries later, they were sort of curved. They were like this shape. But I see pictures of really old ships here, and they have sort of a more maybe there's another rope hanging from it, a more squared. So not that exciting in terms of design, but it's a little bit too dark now, I guess. Gonna go with a bit of light, maybe some highlight that hits the thingy. There we go. Could make this. Let's try to do that on a new layer. I'm not sure if I want to keep it. So then, if you're not sure if you want to keep something, try it on a new layer. Just sort of the freedom to do anything you want. And if you like it, you can keep it. If you don't, you can just get rid of it. So this, instead of the yeah, I really like it because it sort of turns the ship, the really the somewhat older ships, the bowsprit. Yeah, that's the correct term, I believe. The bowsprit was a little bit more turned up, or a lot actually. So yeah, we want to mimic that, and same goes for the back here. Sort of want this to be somewhat more like a medieval ship. And we have these things here. I really bad with my ship terms. I don't know how this is called. I have no clue, but this is where the ropes sort of attach, that go to the top of the mast, that hold the mast in place and stuff like that. And of course we're gonna have all sorts of ropes and stuff. But that's gonna be for the end. We're gonna save that for the very end, because if we add those now, there's no way we can we can work properly on that little market back there. I feel like the anchor needs to be a lot bigger, as in this sort of beam thingy. And I think the shadow needs to be on the other side, so. Shadow here. And there's probably some sort of a rope attached. Not sure how it sort of connects all, how it all connects. Gonna have to figure that out, kinda. Cause hey, that's our anchor. We want it to be attached properly. As you can see, we have sort of a happy accident here, the brushstroke, and we can use that for a little bit of detail in our ship here. I feel like the back is a little bit too dark. Gonna lighten it up a little bit. Nothing too major. Something like that. And then sort of really make these edges a lot sharper. Feel like we should just have a straight back. Not sure why I decided on this yellow type highlight color, but we'll probably change that too. And there's another sort of a beam for extra, little bit of extra support, which runs all the way down here. Just sort of loosely following some images of ships. Just googled medieval tall ship, and I'm sort of switching back and forth between different ships, and picking stuff from all of them. So yeah, we have sort of either this or this. I think that's definitely a an improvement. So we're gonna keep that. I really like the sort of the high bowsprit, and yeah, we did quite a big change to the painting overall. And that's what I meant when I said I kind of want to paint in a layer, because then you're like, oh, this was sort of the original thing, and with a more 16th or 17th century type ship, and I changed it a little bit. Yeah, this feels better. Not only only the design, of course, but the whole detailing. Especially the roof here. The roof has no color, and I'm quite happy with all the green here, and we're gonna add some green at the back here as well, and probably we'll keep this green here. But yeah, I'm quite happy that added those colors. So yeah, we're gonna continue for a little while. I'm not sure if we're gonna get to the 2-hour mark today, but we're just gonna try. I mean, I'm here anyway now, so we might as well try, right? So I like to keep things rough and loose, and as you know by now. Sure, if I should turn this roof into an orange one, because we have sort of the orange theme, sort of roof theme going on for the harbour here. But maybe that's sort of the roof for the poor, and the orange sort of the terracotta, and then the somewhat more richer people can get nice glazed roof tiles, a nice red glaze on top of it. And that way you can sort of create your own narrative with it, as an excuse to use a certain color or a certain style or whatever. You can sort of create your own story in that sense. That's cool about art. You can do whatever you want. Of layering in this building. We're gonna keep this fairly rough because this is gonna be some thing in the distance and not our main focal point. So we don't want to draw attention away from the main focal thingy. And yes, I'm properly vague here. The main focal thingy. The main focus, and that's the ship and a little market and things like that. I kind of want to make this a little bit more orange. Much. Something like this. And sort of add more highlighted areas to the thing. Not sure if I should add more color back there. I tend to paint a lot in blues. Sort of monochromatic blue grayish type things. And I said it before, I need to work on my color game. I have a nice example here where I decided to go with really nice vibrant colors and stuff like that. And this is the painting I did for myself. It's still a work in progress. There's still some work to do, some refinement, but I like it the way it is, quite rough. I kind of want to keep it that way. Here and there we need to do some cleanup, but I think this is this is from scratch, by the way. So no textures or whatever, just color picking straight from the from the swatches and from the just I didn't use any examples to color pick from. But I really think that this is a really cool sort of course, it's a sort of it's a totally different scene, but I felt really comfortable at some point during this sort of painting stage with this little painting. So it was a good. This is a good sort of way to exercise different colors and ways to explore that. As you can see, it's so much more colorful. The size is different too. I mean, this is sort of movie size, and I use that because I kind of I like concept art and stuff like that. This is just a normal A4, and I think for my future projects, I'm just gonna grab the A4. I think it's I don't know. I'm more comfortable with that sizing. I like it a little bit better. So expect something like this from me next week, I guess. Because I want to explore this sort of avenue a little bit more. Because I really like it. I really like to do it. You can keep it nice and loose and quite rough. And I don't know, it's just amazing. I had so much fun making this, I couldn't stop. While with paintings like these, I sometimes have to, I really have to push myself to, oh, as you noticed today, I really have to push myself to keep going and to do it. And yeah, there's a lot to learn, but sometimes you also just want to have fun and really make cool looking things. And at first I thought I really want to be in the concept art business and do concept arts and make cool concepts, and yeah, that's still something I really like. I like to design and explore and stuff like that, but I don't know, just a beautiful piece to look at. I really enjoyed that. Because you don't have to worry about things like proportions and stuff like that. So it's a little bit easier. That's probably also a bonus, but yeah, I want to explore that avenue a little bit more as well. Just some landscapes with nice vibrant colors and stuff like that, because I always keep it sort of quite not really colorful, I'd say. So and that's why you see me trying introducing all these colors here to add more color to the whole thing. So hopefully we can succeed in that and make this thing a little bit more colorful. Because I really had fun making that little a different piece. I did that Monday afternoon because I wanted to test whether my tablet was working, and I really wanted to explore the wet edge brush things more. So I was like, you know what? Let's go with something. I googled landscape image, and I used sort of an image as an inspiration, but there are a lot of elements in the image that I didn't use as sort of just as an inspiration, nothing more. And some of the color inspiration came from the image because it was an autumn image, so the orange leaves and stuff like that were definitely inspired by the by that image. But so yeah, I might do that more, sort of grab an image as an inspiration and sort of give it my own twist. I think we need sort of beams like this, and we need this to be a more like you're looking at an open roof from the bottom. It's not open, but how do I call it? I hope you know what I mean. So yeah, we're almost hitting the 1.5 hour mark. That's already a lot further than I anticipated that I would get today. So that's good, I guess. We came further than expected. I'm not really feeling some of the beams are just not good. This one, I don't need this one to be like it is. I feel like there's too much going on that roof. So I'm gonna grab it. And I'm gonna tone down everything a little bit. Because and we're just gonna go straight over the mast. Because we can bring that back if you want to. Don't want it to be that dark though. A little bit darker, but not that dark. Maybe like this. Just and I think the way to go is to use sort of colors like these to sort of make them lit from beneath, from below. So you're like, oh, there are torches and fires and stuff like that going on there, and that way you get to see the roof. That's how I want to experiment with it. So yeah, that's a little issue that we have to solve. Also, we need to bring sort of things to the foreground so that it doesn't feel like the roof stops sort of here and then the market starts, because the market is below the roof, so we don't want the roof to sort of stop there. And we don't want the feeling that I want to we want it to be a little bit more integrated. So we have these beams here, but we have, for instance, this sort of all these market stalls are sort of down here as well. So we need a market stall here. Just gonna sort of redo the entire thing. And we're probably just gonna hang a lot of lights from the ceiling, and I'm gonna give them, and then that way we can light up sort of the space around it. So hopefully if we grab a soft brush, like that's probably too orange. And that way we sort of light up an entire area. Yeah, I think we want to have these lights sort of lit. It's gonna be it's gonna take a while for this to fully unfold, fully to be fully complete. So let's see, like this. Yeah, I think little bit by bit, it's sort of getting there. Not sure if I want to keep this totally purple, that sort of thingy there. But we'll see. We want some orange and yellows, and yeah, some orange and yellows in there as well, I guess. What happened to my a little bit too strong maybe, but maybe they probably all have hanging banners and stuff like that. That's my flow back to send. That's not cool. So they have banners because, you know, 2 for 1 and stuff like that. Just as you'd see on a normal market. That's something that's, I don't know if they used to do that in medieval times, but that's what I said. You can make up your own story about it. darker purple for the sort of side. This thingy. All sorts of stuff there in the market itself, and there's probably a little lamp dangling there as well. But we'll add those. We'll add a couple of lamps later, because then we can sort of try to figure out where the light hits and stuff like that. Then we can do the lighting. The final sort of pass on the lighting. Ah. Yeah, I think it's coming together quite nicely. Quite big changes from the beginning, but yeah, so far so good, I'd say. What type of banners would this guy have? Let's go with blue ones. So he has a blue banner here, and maybe he has a couple of orange ones as well. And stuff on the stall. Need to address the floor. The floor is probably quite dark. With patches of light from the lamps here and there. So they're gonna sort of hit the floor at certain places. We'll add highlights for that later. Real sort of quite strong ones. We can do it in this area, I guess, because we have the lamps already there. I think we need to sort of try and get these people sort of in there. All sorts of them. So these are the guys with the little baskets. Maybe they. Still not sure why they have these things. Whether it's gonna be fish or the basket to put in the groceries. Bring them back home. And it would be kind of nice to have a way to carry them. sort of suggestion of detail on the ship there. We want this stall to have all sorts of hanging. Maybe there are fish hanging there because they're smoked or whatever. All sorts of hanging stuff. Some bigger than others. Just dangling there. So that way we can have some variation in the type of stalls that we have. Don't want them all to be all the same. So yeah, we'll probably end the stream shortly. 20 minutes. Can I go for another 20 minutes? I could try. I mean, I should try. The goal was to do 2 hours every stream. So we're gonna go for the goal. We're gonna go for the 2 hours. So that's the thing we want to focus on now, is to get to that 2 hour mark every time stream. Of course, Monday was a bit of a problem because we had the coffee incident, so we couldn't make it on Monday. But yeah, that stuff can happen. So so yeah, that's why we didn't do 2 hours. But normally we just want to plan for 2 hours and get the 2 hours done. So that's the goal here, is to complete the 2 hours. I don't know how many times I said 2 hours now in the last few minutes, but quite a bit. Try to design a little bit of the ship here. I think, do I want to bring back this little this railing thingy? Yes, I do. Just had to figure out the right I think that looks too dynamic for the age of the ship. Gonna go with something like this. We haven't really defined where the ship sort of stops back there. So that's a thing to keep in mind. It stops somewhere. make sure that it stops in the right place. I'm not totally happy with the anchor because I used I think the color was too black. They used. So I need to tone that down. Much contrast otherwise. We're trying the best to refine it while still keeping everything fairly loose. It's maybe a little bit too dark. We kind of want to sort of repeat the lanterns throughout this thing here, and we also want to make sure that the market doesn't stop here. The market goes all the way back there as well. So let's try to emulate that by just putting it there, putting in some market stalls and stuff like that. I kind of want to keep this banner. Sort of going up here, and then there's this little thing, and then there's this little lantern. I think I'm gonna get rid of it here. Just make it hang from the rope here. Little fold in it. Something like that, and then so then now we have the banner that we put in from the very beginning because we wanted we wanted some color there. So as you can see, the banner is still there. Of course, the rest of the banners are sort of gone, but there's still sort of remnants of the color, and of course the color will get washed away more and more and more. But tiny bits still remain, and I think that really helps with creating depth. I think we did a quite decent job sort of defining this back edge of the ship. compared to what we had 10 minutes ago. Ship is getting better and better defined. I still want sort of a door here. Little stairs to the back of the ship. Little another staircase. And I think a little, not a little. I keep saying a little. Why is that? I have a new word. I always say a little thing here, a little. Even if I put down a huge castle, oh, with the tower, a little tower. Tower was sort of the biggest thing in the entire painting. Yeah, I got a little tower here. So cute. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm a little bit tired. That's it. And I say a little, but I mean very tired. So yeah, we a little hatch. There we go again. I just keep saying it without thinking at all. It's just, well, let's just forget about it. I think this is better than this angle. Some little bit straighter even. Maybe a little bit too much, but something like that. There we go. Add some highlights. There's gonna be ropes and stuff like that at these points. But, maybe I want some lanterns on the ship as well. Usually there are. So let's add a few at the back here. As you can see, I'm at 80% opacity, but it feels like a lot less. And one here. So these are little lanterns that we can they can lit or light. So the for instance, if you have to that's for if you have to sail in the dark, so you don't bump into other ships and stuff like that. It's quite handy actually. Have some lanterns on the ship, and it adds a little bit of extra detail. Nothing too major, but just something to say, you know what, we thought about this design. We stole it from real designs, so you can't really say steal. And because something Feng Zhu said in his last video, if you're designing something based on the real world, better pick your references from the real world and just use that, because the people who worked on that and designed that have a lot more experience designing it than you will ever have. You're designing so much different stuff. And of course, you can sort of add to the design to make it look cooler, not necessarily to make it more functional, but the functional stuff is there. You don't have to think about it, because things are built with a certain purpose in mind. That they are built for certain things. So why would you spend all your energy in figuring out how you would build it, while others have done it better than you will ever be able to? And you might be better in making it look nice and adding cool stuff to it, and using your own imagination to sort of expand upon the existing design, because you have sort of the freedom. You have to make it look believable, but for the rest of it, you have the freedom to do whatever you want with it. So as long as you can keep it believable, go ham on it and make it look cool and nice. So yeah, in 5 minutes we will hit the 2 hours. I might even go for a little while longer, because every time I keep coming back to this little market thingy, I'm so enjoying myself with this market stuff. I really like it. There's so much sort of to do here, and every little brushstroke seems to add so much to it. It's because it's still very, very rough. But yeah, it's just cool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying myself here. But we won't go on for very, very long. It's not like we're gonna go for another hour or even half an hour. We might do a couple more minutes. We still have 5 minutes to go before we even hit the 2 hour mark. So let's first hit the 2 hours, and then we'll see whether we will continue, or I might sort of deflate once I hit the 2 hours. That's definitely something that can happen. Instead of working towards the goal and you're finally there, you're like, you sort of deflate and don't have any energy left to continue. So that's definitely a possibility. But that's also that's why it's also good to sort of set these goals, at least for me, because then I sort of can keep my energy up until that point. And so that's a good way to sort of what's it called? To challenge yourself into doing more and more each time. I mean, we're gonna do the 2 hour thing for a couple of weeks at least, and at a certain point we're gonna evaluate it and see whether we can expand it to, let's say, 2.5 hours. And once we can do that for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, we will see whether we can make it 3 hours, and so on. So the goal is not to stop at 2 hours. We want to use the 2 hour goal as a mean to grow towards more hours and more hours and more hours. And of course, eventually we gotta stop because we can't fit more hours in a day. But the goal is to grow to, well, for now at least, the goal is to grow to 3 hours. But eventually, I'd like to go for. Well, no, the goal is not for 3 hours. The goal is for 4 hours. Stream for 4 hours at least every time we stream. Unless we do some special streams, and then that might change. That might be different from. But we want sort of a regular schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with 4 hour streams. And that We want to be able to keep up with that. That's sort of the end goal for now. And maybe when we hit 4-hour streams, we're like, this is going well and people seem to enjoy it and I'm enjoying it. Let's try to add days or add more hours or whatever, or add a different type of streams. I mean, we're doing basically painting all the time now, but we can do different types of art. We can do non-art related stuff. I mean, I'm an avid gamer, but we could do something with that if you guys enjoy that. But hopefully by the time the channel has grown enough so that we can sort of can add polls and community feedback and stuff like that. So then we will do more sort of to see what we're gonna sort of figure out together what we're gonna do then. But for now, the goal is to make art, to keep making art, and to enjoy it. Of course, that's sort of the main goal, is to enjoy this. Because once you don't enjoy anything anymore, it's gonna be a lot harder to do. So having a good time is sort of the main priority. After that is just making art and stream for 2 hours a day whenever possible. I add that little caveat there because sometimes unforeseen things happen and then the 2 hours aren't possible, like on Monday. Of course, I could have came back for another half an hour after the coffee incident, but sort of out of the zone by then, and some reason Control C doesn't. Took some time for it to sort of update for some reason. So by the time you're sort of finished cleaning up everything, then sort of the energy has left the body, because the cleaning up also takes up energy, and it's quite hard to sort of get back into it at that point. So yeah, that's why I didn't do it. But yeah, we reached the 2 hours today, so that's good. It's a good thing. I'm really happy with that, and we will continue this on Friday. I'm really starting to like this this painting. Yes, I'm glad we sort of powered our way through it, and of course the ship. It could have been. I think it could have been better with sort of a bunch of smaller ships, just hanging about here in the harbor. And made it a little bit more interesting, maybe. Sort of small fishing boats, because we have the sort of the fish market here. But it we could still try to change that, but it's not that I dislike the ship. I think we have come quite a far way with the ship, as we came from this design to a more sort of interesting design that sort of sticks out from the default. Oh, there's a ship. You can clearly see it's a tall ship, but it has some different elements. So yeah, so far I'm yeah, I was quite enjoying myself. It was a good stream, 2 full hours. And hopefully you enjoyed it too. We will continue this schedule whenever possible, so the 2 hours on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. If you want to keep up with the channel, consider subscribing and liking if you liked the stream. and I hope to see you in the next one. There will be a video out I don't know, I still have to make it, but I want to make the video about the spaceship design that we did, and we redid the entire painting. I want to make that into a nice video, so that's coming your way either this week or next week. Probably next week. I'm gonna start editing the video this week, but I want to make it as compact as possible with as much information as possible. So we will be back with that probably next week. Alright, thank you for watching everyone, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!